Dorks and Forks is brought to you by His and Hers Couples Boutique, located on Kirkwood Highway, Wilmington, Delaware.
Dorks and Forks.
Who is good? Who is bad? Do the ends justify the means? These are questions that have plagued the greatest minds throughout our history. And today we'll be looking at a movie that tries to make you think about the answers. So here's Parasite, in case you missed it.
정말 만나보시겠어요?
I'm deadly serious. 믿는 사람 소개로 연결. 이게 베스트인 것 같아요. 일종의 뭐랄까, 믿음의 벨트?
Welcome back, everybody. This is the In Case You Missed It podcast, where we review recently released titles to streaming services and Redbox. I'm your host, Jay Bump, and with me, as always, is the notorious Brian Wild.
Wow. Yeah, we're here. We're doing it. What is it?
Episode 3.
Episode 3.
Revenge of the podcast.
Yeah. Thanks for having me back.
Me too.
Well, somebody's got to run the board, right?
Exactly, because I can't. I have no idea what I'd be doing. So for this review, we'll be breaking it into 2 parts. Going to try it a little differently this time. The first part will be the spoiler-free review. That's right, no spoils, other than, our opinions on whether we liked it, whether you should, give it a watch. And then after that, we'll take a short intermission. And then that'll be followed by the uber spoiler review, where we totally destroy anything you'd be surprised about.
Sounds fun.
So, Parasite is a South Korean film directed by Bong Joon-ho. It's the story of the Kim family, who lives in a small semi-basement apartment. They have low-paying temporary jobs and struggle to make ends meet. One day, the family is visited by a close friend who's preparing to study abroad, who gifts them
I'd like to study abroad.
Right?
Yuck.
Or 2. He gives the family a scholar's rock meant to promise wealth to the family. The friend suggests to his friend to pose as a university student to take over his job tutoring the wealthy Park family's teenage daughter. Once getting the job, the story starts to ask the viewer exactly who the parasites are. So, first things first. Thoughts. Brian, did you enjoy the film?
Well, yeah, I did. I thought it was really good. What about you? You're 0 for 2.
This was so close to being a perfect movie.
It's funny you say that. Rotten Tomatoes gave it 99%.
Well, I usually don't pay attention to what, other critics say and the websites say. But yeah, this one, it was so close. So close. And I'll get into why it was so close and why I think it was so close. Doesn't actually affect the story. It's still a great movie. It was just basically one thing I just would have tweaked the editing about.
Okay.
And that's it. And one little tweak and I would have been like, this is like a top 10 movie for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Of all time?
Of all time.
Parasite.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, just so everybody knows, Brian didn't make it to the end of the movie.
I didn't. I do. Yeah. We rented it on demand. I got to about 24 minutes to the end, and it was just so late after work, and we had to go to bed. And I was like, I'll watch it in the morning, but then I realized I had to be in work early in the morning.
Oh, God. Life.
Yeah, and then at night I had to host that trivia thing, and then the next day I recorded another podcast, and then I'm like, shit. And now we're here, and I'm like, shit. I had 24 minutes to watch.
Yeah.
I totally failed.
It was basically, Jay, what happened to the end of the movie? Can you give me a quick run through?
Yeah, please.
Oh, shit, that's what happened? Damn.
Yeah.
So yeah, there you go. For once, Jay liked the movie, everybody.
Yeah, it was really good.
I do like movies.
Yeah.
The acting I thought was superb. There was not one person in that movie that, again, it's a foreign film.
Yeah.
So
you have to pull double duty. You have to read.
If you have a problem with it,
well,
you're
you
just
have to
not
read
gonna
the
like it.
subtitles and and try to find nuance in performance all at the same time. So as a like a film appreciator, it's I was up to the challenge. You were up to the challenge.
I'm always up to the challenge. I love a good foreign film. I have no problem reading a movie. There's times where if I really like a foreign film, I'll watch it again later, and I just turn the subtitles off.
Okay.
And that way you can kind of really experience what's going on. You might not understand, but if the director does the scene right, and the actors do their part, then they obviously convey what the scene is about, and you can follow the story even if you don't know the language. Rarely it happens, but this is one of them. I think if I go back and watch it a second time, it will.
I feel like the same could be said about visually being able to watch a film sequentially and not need any dialogue to move you through it.
Very
You know what
true.
I mean? Yeah.
I mean, look at the old silent films.
Yeah. You really, had to rely on storyboards and sequential storytelling.
It's just a good pacing of a story, and and
the acting was superb.
It was.
The characters were strong, every one of them, and it was a family, and there wasn't a weak link in that.
There's two families.
Yeah.
And
you're totally right. And there was a different voice for each one. You're right.
Right.
Every character had its own voice and arc,
and
it was beautiful.
And every one of them, you're like, okay, I
solid.
get what they're doing and what that character is, and I mean, it was just, and they all seemed so genuine.
Yeah, and they were, for, I guess, trying to be parasites. I mean, because they weren't good people, but they were just good. They were good people in bad situations. What society handed to them.
But the same could be said about the other family. That is basically, they're also parasites.
Well, yeah. Well, they're wannabe, like, Silicon Valley millionaires.
Well, they also, there's the great line in the movie, and this will probably be like, I'm not giving everything away, but there's a great line in that movie where the wealthy mother of the family says to one of the poorer family people who's now working there, says, I don't even know how to do the dishes. And then later they show a scene where she literally can't figure out how to use a dishwasher. So again, that family, the rich family, is a parasite.
Sounds like a lot of women in America.
I wouldn't go that far, but
Hashtag feminism.
but again, you could look at the poor family as the parasite preying on the rich family, and the rich family is a parasite that needs the poor family. They can't do anything without them.
Well, and that opening, this isn't a spoiler, but I mean, I don't think I'm spoiling by saying this, but just showing that poverty level that family was on in the beginning with trying to find a Wi-Fi. You could be poor, but you could still have tech because tech is disposable. Tech is easily obtainable. Through data plans but they're working. I mean, are we talking about the pizza box thing yet? Is that a spoiler?
It's not really integral to the story, but it is a funny scene.
Yeah.
So the movie again, they're
it
a
just
poor
shows
family.
how they make money in South
Their whole
Korea.
family is folding pizza boxes that a pizza company then shows up to take to their pizza delivery place, which, as you said before we got the show started, doesn't seem very feasible because you would probably spend more money on gas.
Yeah, to outsource making pizza boxes.
Right.
Is that a thing in South Korea?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I know when I worked at a pizza place,
Yeah.
we didn't outsource it. We just, if it
You
was,
just folded them.
You just folded them.
Before the next delivery.
Right? You had downtime. Hey, go back and fold some boxes.
So that was that was a little weird to me. I remember growing up in Bear, Delaware, and there was a poor family, in this rancher down in Kings Croft, Scarsboro Manor, and we would go to this houses, and the dad would have this crate, this wooden pallet of these metal things, and you had to take these little metal hook things, and you had to bind them up in 100 pack or whatever. So it was this work from home operation, and then you would ship it back to the company. So I understand that outsourcing of, these menial tasks.
Yeah, again, just doing whatever you can to make ends meet.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like, okay, that just doesn't make sense, but okay, I understand the thought behind it.
And it was really cool to see South Korea, like culturally,
Yes.
You know, from that scene where they kind of outsource weird tasks, you know, to the point to those internet cafes, and can you know, where Wi-Fi isn't easily obtainable to the masses, right? So they have these internet cafes, and it's
Where everybody
it's
can
like
go.
and it's packed, you know, with kids
Right.
and people.
People are
and they're
Facebooking, they're online gaming. They're
right?
doing.
Isn't that where that one gaming thing came from? Did you see that Netflix special where? Anyway, we don't have to go down that road, but
Okay.
I forget what that game was called. But that's where it started. It was an American kind of strategy game where teams go after teams, and then
That could be
blew
anything.
up.
I'm sure somebody knows. Yeah, leave
leave
a
it in the
comment. Let
comments.
us know what that game was.
Yeah. But it was cool seeing South Korea as a culture, modern culture, see kind of what they're going through.
Right, because we don't really see a lot of that. You hear a lot about North Korea, but South Korea,
Yeah.
not so much.
And you know, it's an ally, right?
Yeah. I mean, we protect them so that North
Yeah.
Korea doesn't just take them over.
Yeah. Could you imagine? Ugh.
Yeah. But, you know, don't shut us down. We don't want to get shut down like James Franco's movie. So we're sorry, North Korea. So, yeah. Music, I thought the music was great. It wasn't anything spectacular, but every song, like the score just fit every scene. There was not one point where I was watching it, I was like, why would you play that song there? Like, that changes the whole mood and the scene. Everything just flowed perfectly. It was a really good score.
Yeah, it really was.
There was one part in the very beginning with the song. I thought it was kind of funny. It might just be me. Somebody, please let me know if when you watch this movie, if you think it too. There's a part in the very first song when you hear this piano in the background. It sounds like they're playing the theme from the old Schwarzenegger '80s movie, The Running Man.
Oh yeah. How does that go?
Do 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 do.
That's good.
It's a paraphrase.
Keep going.
I'm not going to keep going, but yeah, it just sounds like in the background of this song that's being played. I don't know if that was intentional, unintentional, just a coincidence. Maybe I'm the only one who hears it. I don't know. Call me crazy.
It's a it's a good ear you have to pick that up.
Well, it's 40 years of watching movies.
Yeah.
So,
How many times have you seen Running Man?
oh God, probably I'd say at least 50. I mean,
Wow.
who doesn't love that? Hey,
Yeah.
But we can do Running Man another time.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's
we could do a whole Schwarzenegger smorgasbord,
That would be fun.
right?
Yeah.
And yeah, so aesthetically, this movie was, I thought, shot beautifully.
Beautifully. I agree.
There are just so many kind of actual layers you might not pick up on how they portray the families, just in a term of a visual aspect.
I agree.
In terms of like, you'll see like the use of staircases in this movie is actually really prevalent.
Yeah.
When you're walking up the staircase, you're ascending to wealth. When you're walking down the staircase, you're lowering yourself in poverty.
Wow.
So it was really fun to see how they shot this movie.
It's a brilliant observation. So that's why I brought you here.
So yeah, I mean, it was almost perfect.
Yeah.
And like
The flood scene was great.
the flood scene, which we will get into.
And another sequence that was just beautifully shot and like just really fun and hyper and it just change of pace and energy and it was great.
Yeah, this movie, I don't want to say it does a lot of twists and turns, but it was a movie that kind of, at least, I thought it at least, it keeps you guessing a little bit as to where they're kind of going with it. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm the type of person, like, I was the guy that was sitting in the movie theater while we were watching Usual Suspects, and halfway through it, I'm like, oh, Kevin Spacey's cars are so-say. And, it's like the day the movie came out, and people are like, spoilers, man. Like, why are you why? I'm like, dude, I'm just watching it with you. It's really obvious. But, that's me. So I like a movie where it's just not predictable. And I'm like, okay, I see where they're going with it. I see what they're saying. Yeah. And then they kind of give you just this little tweak to the story. Yeah. And it's like, oh.
And then it got really weird.
And then it got really weird.
Yeah.
As any kind of foreign film that I love does. It gets really weird really fast.
One of my favorite foreign films is a French film called With a Friend Like Harry.
which you were telling me about earlier, and I
That's wild.
feel like
I'll let you
seen
borrow it. I think I have it on DVD. Right
If
here
you have it
somewhere.
on DVD, I will watch it because.
Yeah, I've got it. It's around here somewhere.
Okay, yeah, my personal favorite foreign film is it's a movie that most people they haven't seen it or they have seen it and they're like, oh, that movie's horrible. It's a movie called Irreversible, and I remember when that movie came out, basically. People either left the movie theater because they thought it was just so horrific, or people stayed. Like it's. Well, I'm not going to get into that one. I was just talking about foreign films, but it's an interesting film to say the least.
I'll have to check it out.
I can let you borrow that. We could swap.
Ooh.
So Parasite. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I mean, again, it's so close to perfect. Like. And yeah, if I'm going to grade it right now, my grade is, it is a whopping 4 forks up.
4 forks.
4 forks, and I'd even throw in, the spoon and the knife and the napkin.
This isn't like you.
Well, I was not expecting going into watching this movie thinking this way because I'd heard a lot of people saying, "Oh, it's so close to being perfect," or "It is a perfect movie," and usually when that happens, I watch it and I go, "Wow, what a piece of shit." Not the case with this one. No, I can't recommend it more. Watch it. If you like watching movies with subtitles, you won't be disappointed.
Yeah. That's great.
Yeah. So I think from here.
Oh, I guess what would I give it?
Yeah. Yes. I guess your opinion matters. Brian Wilde's lives matter.
I would give it 3 3/4 forks.
And of course, you haven't watched the ending yet, so
I haven't, but I got to about 24 minutes to the end, and maybe that's why I don't think it's a perfect movie because it's kind of dragging in bits. I mean, it didn't. If it was
how
that
dare you,
good,
sir? How dare you
if
say
it
that a
was that
movie that I
good-
think is almost perfect and you say it's not?
If it was that good, I would have. Where'd the time go? And
Oh,
then all
Quentin
of a sudden we're at the
Tarantino
end.
would have directed this. You guys would have been all over it.
I'd have been all over it like twice.
Right.
I would have watched it twice, 3 times maybe by now.
Like, I'm still watching it now. I called out of work. I can't go back to work. I just have to
Right.
keep watching.
It's true. No, come on.
So, okay. I mean, hey, that's a pretty good grades from the both of us.
Yeah.
And especially me, considering I usually hate everything. So,
I look forward to going back and rewatching.
as do I. Like I said, I think the next time I'm actually going to go back and watch this movie without the subtitles on.
Yeah.
Just so I can enjoy it aesthetically.
This might be blasphemous, but I'd love to hear a English dub.
I don't know. I thought about it. I was curious if they're going to have one. But, you never know.
Yeah.
As long as it's not like basically an old kung fu flick where
Yeah.
mouths are still moving and ha ha ha.
Well, yeah.
What are you doing over there? I will fight you. Ha 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 ha. It's like and next on Dragon Ball Z. So we will take a quick intermission.
Yeah.
And then we will come back with the part that if you want to listen to it, that's great because I'm
Okay.
just going to basically talk about this whole movie, every scene that I loved, and and just spoilers. Uber spoilers.
Okay.
Awesome.
We'll be right back. In case you missed it.
요게 그럼 그리고 여기가 그러니까 요건 이제 터치로 하는 것 같은데.
아, 터치가 아니고 이거 뭐 돌리라 그러는 것 같은데.
야, 예.
오.
선생님, 어떻게 말씀이 길어지시네요?
네.
여기 있다.
And we're back. So here we go. We're going to get into Parasite, the movie. And this is the part where I gush over this movie and tell you everything that I loved about it and every scene. And basically, by the end of this, you'll be like, oh, okay, I don't even need to go see the movie now because he just painted such a, tapestry with his words.
Spoilers.
Spoilers. Big time
Yeah.
Uber spoilers. And Lyft spoilers, too.
Sure.
I don't want to leave out Lyft and Uber. So, okay, so again, we start the movie off with this, poor ass family folding pizza boxes, searching for a Wi-Fi signal.
Yeah,
by
really
just
cool.
Getting into whatever corner of the house that they can find. Where
Yeah, because they're kind of in the basement.
They're in a basement apartment.
Yeah.
A family of 4, the mother,
Yeah.
the father, the daughter, the son. The
And
typical
they're-
South Korean nuclear family.
And was it a metaphor for them not quite being underground? Like they had just enough window where they could see the outside world. They weren't so pushed under.
They were pushed under considering the fact that, there's that one scene where they see the one guy who's drunk.
Yeah, and
he
he
pisses
yeah.
in the street, and they're like, "Oh, that guy again! Should we
Yeah.
close the windows?" Like, I think what that whole scene reminded me of is, if you ever grew up in a household that had like the old antennas, where it's like, "Oh, if I get the antenna just right, I get
Sure,
a good
yeah.
TV signal." Like, it was just like an updated version of, my generation's way of saying,
Sure.
"Oh, we were kind of poor, so we just had to get the right position on a signal." Like, I thought that was kind of fun. So again, then it goes into the boy in the son in the family has a friend, comes over, brings him a rock. And like, hey, this rock is a gift from my family to you guys. It's supposed to, help you be wealthy. And oh, by the way, you and me, let's talk real quick. So he starts talking. He's like, hey, you should just pose as a college kid. Don't worry about it. You can do it. You can speak English. You can talk English. There's really no English spoken in this movie.
None.
He's like, okay, well, how am I supposed to do all this? Because I need paperwork. And he's like, oh, isn't your sister like a master at like Photoshop? Which I thought was hysterical. She's sitting in it, again, it was one of those internet cafe scenes where she's sitting there smoking a cigarette while all these other people are, Facebooking and playing online games, and she is forging college degrees and all this, proper state paperwork saying, oh, this guy's a licensed tutor and is going into college. I'm like, okay. So right off the bat, she's got some skills.
Yeah, she's got her side hustles.
Right? So the guy goes, does the interview at the wealthy family's house, and right off the bat, you realize that the wealthy family is what they are. They're a wealthy family, and they're not bothered by the ways of and the problems of poor people.
No, they're certainly not.
I got my live-in maid that's there all the time, and
But it was, but even it was a facade or a visage, because as much as they were the rich to those poor, they were still trying to achieve bigger. I think they wanted to be, they considered themselves, not quite well to do. I mean, they knew of their situation, but the way that the male of the house, had the people in the basement. I mean, we'll get to that, right? But
True.
Right. It was a sense of kind of not automation, but like IT. There was things that he was using people for that I feel like Silicon Valley or something, because he was in tech. He was in the tech industry. So he made his money in tech, but he's in North Korea. It's not like he's in tech. South Korea, I'm sorry. He's not in California, in Silicon Valley doing it, right? The money's just not the same there.
no, it's a different infrastructure, but
Yeah.
yeah.
But I think he was doing things
They're rich. They're
to
not.
poor people to make him feel like
Well, of course.
he had what the West had, right? When it comes to their luxury of being rich.
Well, again, it comes down to classes. I can't. Basically saying, okay, I'm rich and you're poor, so I'm going to exploit you, which goes back into the whole premise of the title, Parasite.
Parasite.
So again, going back to the poor family, so the son goes in, interviews, and right off the get go, you see, okay, the rich family's daughter, she's basically a homeschooled kid, so you get that stigma of awkwardness from the homeschooled kid. And she happens to be a girl, so automatically she's kind of smitten with him and enamored. And it's like, oh, okay. So he gets the job. Meanwhile, the rich family has a younger son who he shows all the signs of like ADHD, and he's just running all over the place. He's hyper. So the rich mom is talking about how they can't find anybody to help her son, and this guy, he's like, oh wait, I know somebody that can help. And he immediately cuts to him talking to his sister, the one that was doing all the forging. So she goes and interviews, and she passes herself off as some kind of art therapist, which apparently is a real thing. Art therapy, it is a real thing. So she gets a job there. So now it's like, okay. She immediately, from that, gets their driver fired. Like, instantly. Like, their family driver gets fired. They hire the poor people's dad. Now he's the driver. The only one that's left is the maid. An old South Korean woman. So it's like, how do we get rid of her and get our mom in? This family, the Kim family, literally.
That peach sequence.
Oh my God.
The way it was shot, the way it was directed was beautiful. The way it was cut together.
Yeah. So the house, the maid is allergic to peaches. Even if she just gets a little bit of like a peach skin on her skin.
Peach fuzz.
Right? The peach fuzz. Like she starts to cough and gets like a rash. And so what happens is this poor family, the Kim family, trick the rich family, the Park family, into thinking that their maid has tuberculosis because she's constantly coughing because they are setting it up so perfectly. Like they've got scripts, they're on walkie-talkies texting each other and being like, okay, she's coming down the stairs. And you see somebody just flick a little bit of peach fuzz on the back of her neck when she's not looking and plant like blood in a napkin she was just coughing into to make it look like she was coughing up blood. Right? It's like ketchup. But it freaks the rich family out so much that they have to fire her.
It was choreographed so well, though.
And that's the really messed up part is it's choreographed so well, and it's just this poor family figuring out how we're gonna
scam their way kind of into this family,
and they scam their way in, and it's like wow, I kudos to you guys, like way to that's a good scam.
It was like the South Korean Shameless. You ever watch Shameless?
Yeah,
Showtime, something like that, kind of just a poor family by hook or by crook. You know what I mean?
And they just make it work, and they get in.
Yeah.
But then there's the Park family. And the Park family is the wealthy family. They decide that they're going to go camping for the weekend. And trust me, it does not get into slasher film genre, because that would have been funny if they went camping, and then all of a sudden just turned into like Friday the 13th. But so they go camping for the weekend. So the Kim family, which is the poor family, they're like, sweet, we're going to live it up in the house for the weekend and just drink all their booze, eat all their food, and it's going to be awesome. I remember watching it, and I was just like, okay, well, this is so obvious. At some point, the family's going to come home early. It's like Ferris Bueller's Day Off. It's, any teen movie where, we're having a party. Oh, my parents are coming home. Oh, no, we got to clean up. So that ultimately happens, and they get the phone call saying, "Oh, well, it's raining," because rich people can't be bothered with the rain. So, oh shit, we got to clean up. And as they're getting ready to start to clean up, there is a ring at the doorbell, and it is the old maid. And she is on their little video screen at the front door with this really freaked out look on her face. And she's crying and sobbing and saying, like, I just need to come inside. I forgot something. That's all I forgot something. And they're like, like they don't want her to know the whole scam that everybody that basically works there now is all part of the same family, and they did this to her.
This is when they were all hanging out drinking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So they finally are like, okay, just get her in and get her out. Whatever she left, let her get it and push her on her way. So they bring her in, and she goes down this dark staircase, disappears. You don't hear anything. And it goes on for maybe 5 minutes, but you're meant to make it feel like it's an eternity. So the mother from the Kim family, who is the new housemaid, she walks down the stairs and finds the old housemaid propped up in between a shelf and the wall, like she's just trying to push something.
That was crazy.
Like feet in 8 feet in the air, and you're just like
some
hell?
parkour thing,
right? And she starts screaming and screaming and screaming. And then eventually what happens is they open up this shelf to another staircase to a whole new section of room you didn't know existed in this house. Yeah. And down there, you're like, oh man, what's down there? Is it like, like some like deformed baby or like what's going on down there? It's that lady's husband.
But it's not only that, it was these flights and flights and flights of steps. That scene where they follow her down in that one long take here going through that. That stairwell.
Yeah, and it's just a very narrow concrete
descent into the madness that's about to come.
It's like, what's going on? And then you finally get into this little small room. You see a bed and, pictures and just stuff written on the walls. And it turns out, this is the husband has been living here for 4 years.
Yeah.
Because he owes people a lot of money. So they're basically just trying to wait out the people they own the money to. But then shit goes haywire and the family comes tumbling down the stairs like an episode of the Brady Bunch coming down the staircase. Whoa, whoop, 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 whoop. And then everybody puts two and two together and the melee ensues.
See, he was down there messing around with those like electrical transformers, the husband of the maid.
Oh, yes. I didn't get to that part yet, though. Because it was until later when he started talking about that.
Oh, okay. All right.
So, again, the family comes down there, and now everybody realizes, oh, shit, like, you guys are all family.
And she pulls out a phone and records it.
Yep. So then it cuts up, and it's just like, she's basically just blackmailing this poor Kim family. I say the poor Kim family because, I was rooting for them, and I was like, oh, now they're stuck, and now they're being blackmailed. Yeah. But then again, it just comes right back around, and more melee ensues. I'm not going to go into like the whole movie.
Yeah, the chaos continues.
Yes, but what ends up happening is the poor Kim family wins the day, and basically, they kick the old maid down the stairs while her husband's tied back up, and she dies.
Yeah, she hits her head.
Yeah, like 3 times. It was pretty brutal the way she fell down the stairs.
Yeah.
And it was the weird part was it was like such a subtle like
so the Kims go on a run. They kind of take off. Right?
Yeah. Everybody except for their mother who's their live-in maid, the live-in maid now. So the rest of the family they go back on the run and they're like, we're going back to our old, crappy basement apartment. Except it's been raining and apparently the sewage system busted and now everything is flooded. So they go back into their house to try to gather whatever belongings they can. While they're, wading around through sewage. And by sewage, I mean, human waste.
And it was a little more hectic than just wading around,
Yes.
It was, human waste was shooting through the toilet. Daughter goes into the bathroom. She goes to get her pack of smokes that she hid up in the rafters.
Oh, such a great scene.
She's sitting on the toilet and all that shit spraying out of it.
Spewing out of it while she's sitting on
everywhere.
there.
Yeah.
The weirdest design for a toilet I've ever seen.
Yeah. So like a 100-year flood or something.
But I mean, just the way that toilet was positioned, because you had to ride, you had to go up a couple steps once you're in the bathroom.
Yeah, it was weird. Yeah.
So again, it was the staircases.
Yeah, it was weird.
So that was just another great metaphor of this shitty family. Like that's the best metaphor for them. They're a shitty family, and now they're stuck in their own shit.
And then it cuts to the rich family coming outside in their, little mansion, and she's like, "Oh, we needed the rain."
Yeah,
the Kims, their whole life was ended. Their whole house is flooded, and meanwhile, the rich people are like, "Oh,
they're like,
we're barely touched by it."
Oh, look at the grass; it's really pretty. So then after that, you get to the party scene, and this is where Brian missed out.
Yeah, I had to tap out.
Yeah, and he tapped out at probably the worst part. So the party scene's great. So they're having a party for the little boy because he's gotten his head right since the Kim's family daughter who's been helping him. So they're having this party, and the Kim's family son, he decides, you know what, we got to make sure that everything's good. So he takes that big rock from the very beginning, goes down the staircase in the secret little room, but he messes up and he drops the rock and because he was scared. So then he finds out that, you know, the lady was dead. But then her husband comes back, hits him on the head, like bashes his head in with a rock. And a little more melee ensues. It's pretty, I wouldn't say it's like super gruesome, but it's like, ooh, that's what it looks like when you get hit in the head with a big rock a couple of times. So he's down for the count. Dude in the basement picks up a nice butcher knife. He's like, all right, you killed my wife, I'm killing y'all. I'm going out in a blaze of glory. Meanwhile, there's a party outside in this picture-perfect lawn, and birthday cake is being brought out by the daughter of the Kim family, the trauma cake, because I didn't get into that part, but so she's bringing out this cake for the boy that she helped, and the dude in the basement just shows up and just stabs her in front of the kid. The kid like freaks out and passes out. Everybody's screaming. Meanwhile, her dad was standing there with, you know, the Park family dad, basically just being made to play pretend Indian. He sees his daughter get stabbed and fall on the ground. He immediately goes to her, even though the little boy is passed out. The Park family's dad then is like yelling at him and like, I need the keys to the car. And he's like, well, oh, they're right there underneath this dead body. So he goes to move the dead body. He's grabbing the keys and he holds his hand over his nose. And the reason why he did this, because previously in the movie, he was the Kim family is underneath of a table when the Park family comes home early and after they've taken care of everything. And they hear this whole long discussion about how much they really don't like any of the people that they hired. And they say specifically, he smells. Yeah. And it's brought back up a couple of times in between, and you can see that it bothers him. But this time it really bothers him. It's like, okay, you're lifting up a dead body to pick up keys, but you still have to cover, like, really? Through all this? Fuck that. He picks up the knife, stabs Mr. Park. So now it's all hit the fan. Everybody's just running and running away. End. Cut to a hospital bed. The son, who was bashed in the head with a rock, he somehow miraculously lived. So did his mother. His sister dead. The father who stabbed Mr. Park missing. So it cuts to a little, months later, and apparently the Kim family who did all this stuff, they just get probation. Like, wow. Like, okay. The dad's still missing. So the son, he continues to go up on top of this hill because it has a nice view of this house, because the house is a character of itself in this movie. So he keeps going up there because he still wants to be in that house, as does everybody. Everybody wants to be in this house. And then he starts to see a light flicker. It just keeps, an odd pattern. And what happened is we didn't get into it until just now because I wanted to wrap it up this way, is the person that previously lived underneath the house would hear the footsteps of the house owner, and he would systematically turn on the lights when he would walk up the stairs. The owner of the house didn't think anything of it. He just thought they were automatic censored lights. But the guy on the stairs was paying his respect to his homeowner. And then he would send him messages in Morse code through the lights. But, the rich guy, he didn't care. He didn't know anything about it. So now the new homeowner doesn't know anything about it. And the dad is still under the basement, and he's flickering the lights, trying to get a message to his son. Which is where I think the movie should have just ended. But we get a little more, we get maybe 10 more minutes of just exposition that basically explain that, yes, that his dad is the one that's under the stairs and blah, 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 blah. It doesn't ruin the movie for me. It's there. It's fine. I don't really have a super problem with it. It would have been a perfect movie if they just tweaked that one little piece of editing for me.
Yeah.
Just end it with that little shot of the flickering lights. It's like, we're invested in the movie. We got it.
Yeah. That makes sense. I guess I thought that the rich dad, was basically paying those people under the stairs to do that for him. That's kind of what I gathered before I fell asleep.
Okay. Yeah. No. The dude under the stairs, the husband of the housemaid, they didn't know he was there. Yeah. Yeah.
Nice. So, what do you got next? It was a good review, Jay.
Thank you.
Good. Dude, should we do that sequel to The Shining?
Dr. Sleep.
Yeah.
I think I suggested it. I haven't watched it yet, and
Yeah.
I mean, it's Ewan McGregor, and who doesn't love Ewan
Yeah.
McGregor?
Let's do that next.
Do you know what it's on?
Well, I saw it on. I think it's on. I think you still have to pay for it.
I'll have to look into it.
Yeah.
By the way, you can watch this movie on demand.
Yeah.
I know, at least for me, I have FiOS, so I watched it through FiOS on demand.
Yeah, watch it through Xfinity. I think it costs $6 or something.
About the same.
Yeah.
So that's where you can watch this movie, which I highly recommend watching this movie. Ugh.
And I also saw that Jojo Rabbit just dropped today on Prime. So maybe
another
I'll
one we
watch
could
that.
do.
Yeah, maybe watch that. Maybe the next Jojo Rabbit, and then Doctor Sleep, or something. Doctor Sleep, and then
Maybe go Dr. Sleep the next one.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, you
we can do 2 in a row and then release them at separate times.
We could do that, or again, the world out there could drop a comment and be like, hey, you know what? Stop doing that, and I want to do something off the wall. I don't care.
Yeah, sounds good. Just tell us in the comments below what you want to hear.
And be sure to drop a like and hit that subscribe button.
Yeah, if you liked what we did, and want to, go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on the notifications so you could stay abreast. Because it looks like we're getting 1 or 2 of these out,
at least
every 10 days or something.
Yeah.
You know?
It's luckily we just our schedules fit and we can do that, and it's fun.
It is.
So so on that note, that was Parasite, and
it got 7 3/4 forks,
which is the highest I think so
highest so
far.
far.
Just between the two of us, Obviously, when Lee was on, it was higher.
Sure.
But peace out, everybody.
Yep. See you next time on Dorks and Forks. In case you missed it.